Hey everyone, Elizabeth here, your low budget version of me going forward rather than, I need to figure out a platform that I can kind of screen share and have myself on here at the same time. I'm gonna turn up the volume, but what I want to talk about is, when I lived in Germany in between 2014 and 15, it was a massive eye-opening experience, and I always thought I was an awakened individual, and I felt like that was the starting point to really understand how things happen globally, how things are engineered, in addition to the interconnectedness of the system, of how things work and operate, because we all have blind spots, and I think our blind spots are extra large in America, because we are so focused on work and career and success and money, that we tend to we've lost touch with things like geopolitics. And throughout my time there, I met really intelligent people who opened my eyes. In addition to, when I was there, it was for the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, and my ex-husband was the fellow. But meeting Angela Merkel and meeting the president of Germany, and Merkel is the chancellor. So I heard and saw things, and as well as saw that migration crisis in October 2015, which has been the shape-shifting of cultural destruction for Europe. And the one thing I want to talk about, because of living in Germany and seeing how things have been rebuilt, and now that I've been home for, I can't believe I'm saying this, about 8 years now, is start to really connect the dots. And all wars and all historical events have massive significance that have led us to where we are today. But really within, this last 100 years, World War II has been a massive, it's the setting stone. It's the setting stone of that form of destruction that has led to a lot of communism, has led to the wiping out, World War I as well, wiping out of all the beautiful history and architecture, to introduce that communistic lifestyle, communistic architecture, in addition to fulfilling that agenda for the new world order. So if you're kind of new to awakening to all of this stuff, not a lot of it makes sense, but if you've been following this stuff for a really, really long time and your intuition has guided you to know better, you should probably have a good understanding of how things work. So what I want to talk about, which I kind of actually want to do a separate video on, is that when you're looking at things being engineered, there is an agenda, and that agenda has to get fulfilled. Oftentimes what the system does is cause chaos. Chaos leads to war. War leads to destruction. And destruction of a nation or a town or a community tends to force migration, or force a group of people out of an area or to a new area. And then, there's either some form of resettlement that happens in that area, or that movement of people will fulfill an agenda. So if you look at something like World War II, you do see that mass push of migration forced a lot of the Jewish people out of Europe and Germany, and a lot of them went to Israel as well as to the United States. What I witnessed in 2015, Obama and Biden just bombed the fucking shit out of Syria, and they didn't get any support and help from any land bordering nations. Like Turkey didn't help them, and Middle Eastern countries didn't help them. So Merkel opened the floodgate, and these people came over. A lot of times you had some, I don't know if they were specifically French politicians. I just remember living there and reading that there were French people as well as local people in Syria, Northern Africa, that were, I don't know what you would call it, a smuggler or a trafficker or a trader. They were getting paid. These people were paying them, somewhere between 500 and 800 euros to put them on a boat, to promise them a new life with all this free stuff coming from the German government. So we need to have a little bit of a skeptical eye when things like this happen. So if you've never been to Maui, I went to Maui and Kauai in January of 2005, right before I moved to Australia, and I went with my dad as kind of like a, a farewell trip and go hiking and stuff. And although I liked Maui, Kauai was more of my scene because there was a lot of tourism. However, I would say the banyan trees have been, that like blew my mind. I remember my dad getting really excited to show me the banyan trees. And so as all of this has happened in Hawaii, it has kind of made me wonder, like, what is going on here? There has been some talk with things like those train derailments in Ohio, where we naturally see it as a destruction and a leaking of chemical waste into the environment and to the people. However, there is, if this perspective is even true, that there is some bombing, destruction happening to areas where there's either some underground stations, I don't even know what you would call them, cities or portals where people are being trafficked. We have to be a little open-minded to things like underground cities. There's underground areas in Seattle. You can walk down the streets to downtown and look underneath and see red light bulbs. The city was rebuilt on top of the old city. So it kind of makes me, raise an eyebrow to like what has happened in Maui. Why is this happening? Is it a form of destruction? Is it to kick people out? You have a lot of surfers and artists and people, wealthier people that live there. Is there something underground? Is that trying to kill off the spiritual significance? So if you've never seen these banyan trees, they're pretty, they're pretty fascinating trees. And, these do have a great spiritual significance to the Hawaiian people, whether we can look at this as like from a positive perspective, or maybe, these gods and stuff are more demonic. I don't really want to talk about that, but you can maybe just look at the screen or even try to find this website, mast-producing-trees.org, and look up his blog on Hawaii and the banyan trees. But they do, have significant cultural and spiritual connections to the Hawaiian people and to the island. So it just makes me wonder. So I want to play this clip.
Pushing offshore a little bit for survivors. Yeah, we copy Nemo. I'm kind of along Yapoko on the south side right now. There's an Air Maui down along the shoreline. Oh my gosh, look at the harbor. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. Oh my God! It's pretty unreal. And be advised, we've been told that 2 Navy 60s are inbound. We've also been told they're going to hold offshore until we go to refuel. Oh my God! And also there's a Scan Eagle being operated at 1,000 feet.
There's hundreds of homes leveled down to the ground. The historic section of the town is destroyed. All the historic buildings. Lahaina used to be the capital of all of Hawaii. Even the boats in the harbor were burned down to the water. They're gone. So the whole front street of Lahaina, all the shops, the businesses are all gone.
I'm kind of in shock a little bit. Unbelievable. This looks like Baghdad or something.
So this is no different than what happened in World War II. And I lived in Hanover, Germany, and I've talked about that before. And Hanover, Germany was one of the most bombed cities in Europe. And in Germany, I believe Dresden was like the worst. And so in Poland, this is Warsaw, Poland, was leveled to the ground. It was destroyed, pretty similar to Hanover and to Dresden, Germany. So why am I bringing this up? This is what the old town in Poland looks like now. So when you go there and you don't know any history, you're like, look at all these beautiful ancient medieval buildings. Actually, this shit was rebuilt in the 40s and 50s by the Polish people. There might have been Turks that rebuilt it, that I'm not sure, but they rebuilt it to look like, restore the old town, the historical area, to how it looked pre-World War II. Now, the Polish people actually care about certain things. You know, when you start getting into these Eastern European Catholic countries, you can't really fool Eastern Europeans because they've had a lot of shit happen through their history, and they've learned from it. So they've gone from this to this. Now, I lived in Hanover. Oh crap, where is it? Oh, this is it. So there's a lot of beautiful pictures. Like, you can just see all this amazing historic architecture, but this is a picture of Hanover just right along the waterfront, or the Lina, the river. And this might be Old Town, it might not be, I'm not sure, all of it's old as an American, but you know, you look at the river now. This is off of Google Map. This is what it looks like. Look at this, just blah, plain old square building that's nothing. Hanover's Old Town, once again, was rebuilt exactly, for the most part, most of it was rebuilt exactly how it was before. Oh, this is the Christmas tree market. So I actually lived in the Leibniz house, which is here. This is rebuilt. The original Leibniz house was not in this area. So Leibniz, if you know him, he's a massive historical figure of Germany. I think that's where he created like the binary code. So, wow, this was taken. So at Christmas time, they build a Christmas forest. Let's see if we can go around. I don't think maybe we can. So it's just amazing when you live in a place like this. And, but you could, yeah, weird. I don't know what happened. Maybe that's after. That's weird. All right. Well, anyways, their Christmas markets, they build this Christmas forest right down, right in front of where we lived. I was like blown away. It was literally like living in a fairy tale. But you can, I mean, this part has been restored, but you can just see like this is post-World War II architecture. This is nothing. It's nothing how it was before. Darmstadt